John Petrucci is one of the best guitarists of all time. His impact on the modern guitar scene is undeniable. Here are 7 key takeaways you can learn from him to level up your guitar playing. Number 1, practice a lot and practice consistently.
Obviously, when you were young, you practiced a lot.
I did.
Like, how much did you practice?
I practiced a minimum of 6 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, and I've said this before, this was a pact that John Mayong and I had.
Okay.
That we had to practice
In
6
school.
hours a day in school.
In his book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell says that you have to put 10,000 hours toward your craft before you master it. This roughly equates to 3 hours every day for 10 years, or in Petrucci's case, 6 hours every day for 5 years. If you want to improve insanely fast, practicing 4 to 6 hours every day is the way to go. This is easier said than done when you're balancing life with work or school, but if you've got the time, you should put the work in.
I went to Berkeley for a year, but before then, I mean, those are the years where you kind of need to take advantage of the time that you have to practice. But yeah, I would sit there for 3 to 6 hours more a day and just kind of work on stuff because, I didn't have a job or I didn't have to do anything really. And like I said, those are real formative years. It's a good time to take advantage of that.
Number 2, strictly use alternate picking. If you want absolute power and precision in your leads, you should use alternate picking as much as possible.
I always think it looks like a sewing machine, up and down. Sewing machine doesn't care where you put in the material, it just keeps doing this, right?
With this philosophy, you'll feel and sound a lot more locked in with the music while actively improving your technique. Number 3, if you can't improve, maintain. You should never rest on your laurels as a player.
I think there's a certain amount of maintenance that needs to be done to keep your chops together.
To maintain certain aspects of your playing, you should practice to a metronome and play pieces that focus around one concept or technique. You can always sharpen the material that you've already learned. Go beyond just learning the part. Aim for both mastery over the music and for stamina. Practice it so much that it feels absolutely effortless to play. This allows you to feel comfortable anywhere, whether it's in your room practicing alone or in front of a massive crowd. Number 4, practice musicality. Your vibrato and how you deliver the note is what separates the amateurs from the pros.
This is the type of thing, to me, that I think separates really great players and makes them stand out. It's not necessarily the technique, because I'm sure you know a lot of guys that really have great technique, but to me, it's how they make the guitar as an instrument speak individually with their own voice. I think in the use of melody and phrasing techniques and the way that you manipulate the sounds of the electric guitar, bending and vibrato and sliding and all those subtleties, to me, is what separates players and what makes players stand out is, being lyrical or mature.
John has inspired countless players to pick up the instrument and practice more. Few of them have come close to his level of technique. Fewer still are as well-rounded as he is. Remember to practice more than just alternate picking and sweeps. Your musicality, the way that you deliver the music, is what makes you, you. Your inflections, your vibrato, the same shapes and tendencies you keep coming back to. Practice those aspects of your playing and keep expanding on them. Insane technique loses all of its impressiveness if there isn't a solid foundation underneath it. Number 5, using rhythmic tension.
When you are creating riffs, maybe you get it to a certain point, but then you want to make it a little bit more interesting. You want it to turn around in a weird way or have a little hiccup or just maybe not be so stock sounding. Then you can use your knowledge of odd time signatures and insert some things that are really cool. And the cool thing about that as far as composition is that when you're writing a song and you have something that's a little weird, a little unexpected, and then you do break into a 4/4 section, that 4/4 section feels so grounding and so satisfying.
We often hear about using tension and release in our melodies. It's a crucial part of writing engaging music. Just as important is using rhythmic tension. Number 6, shape the part around the intent of the music. If you struggle with your part sounding too similar or lacking any changes in dynamics or feel, try experimenting with the form of the part. If the rest of the band is filling up a lot of the sonic space, you can play single note riffs or leads. Conversely, if you have to fill up more space, try playing big chords rather than leads. It's all about adapting to what the music needs. This is why John's such a great player. He can fit into any role that's required of him. Whether it's insanely fast unison lines with Jordan Rudess, hugely chunky riffs, or spacey cleans, John puts the music above all else. Number 7, the melody is your backbone. In John's playing, the melody is always there. Even when playing insanely fast solos, you can still pick out a melody. This is such an important part of John's playing. Without melody, you're just mindlessly shredding for the sake of it, which is interesting for about 5 seconds before it just becomes noise. It's often said that the best guitar solos are the ones that you can sing in your head. And while you may not be able to sing as fast as John can play, you should be able to always sing the underlying melody. Now that you've learnt these 7 lessons from John, click here to find out how Tim Henson is becoming the next guitar hero.